Hello, Abigail here with the Tarotscopes for Taurus season, Taurus sun, moon, and rising. My Taurus humans, this season is actually a much needed, not bombastic astrological month, which I'm very thankful for. We do have a couple more major astrological events coming and an eclipse season later this year, but they don't happen in Taurus season, which I am really excited for. I do think, it's not astrology free, obviously. We wouldn't want that. Um, but we have Venus goes into Aries, and Mercury will move into Taurus a little later, and then we're going to have Pluto station retrograde, and then also the Sun will conjunct Uranus. But these moments aren't quite the same as the Venus Mercury retrograde we had in Aries season, eclipse season. You know Pluto's ingress into Aquarius, the Mars retrograde wrapping up, these, Neptune moving into Aries, all those things that we've experienced earlier this year, no events of that magnitude are happening in Taurus season. And I'm really thankful for that. Like, those events are push us forward and help us to kind of expand and really shift our perspective and our timelines, but it is exhausting. Give me a second while I'm talking. I also do have a cold. So if I cough or seem under the weather or less sparkly, because I'm surviving. Um, So I am excited for that. I was really excited for the beginning of the year, and then it bodied me. And I'm still excited for it. I'm just exhausted. So this is a month where I really do think we should really focus on, especially as Tauruses. I am a Taurus sun. Um, especially as Taurus humans and people with Taurus placements, to really dig into the kind of stereotypical Taurian things. Are these one to one absolute truths? No. But taking snacks and naps and going on picnics and having brunch, these are things you should do this Taurus season. Relaxing, sitting in the sun, connecting with plants, touching grass, not in like touch grass, you fool, as we see it on the internet, but like touch grass is in like, oh, look, I'm finally reconnecting with the earth after kind of, acting like I kind of exist in a bubble and am separated from it for a long time because I've just been too tired to go outside. Um, so this is a really beautiful, beautiful season that I think is time for us to really, think through and process what has happened and celebrate our progress as well. I do love our little oracle card, the beacon of fortitude. I saw this and I was like, I have been a beacon of fortitude lately, haven't I? And the little words underneath are ground and connect. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when I say do stereotypical Taurus things. Eat good food. Summer bodies uh, that are, supposedly thinner bodies, garbage. We want to be voluptuous, luscious, well fed, healthy bodies. And healthy in the context of like, I take care of myself, not in the context of some arbitrary dealio where somehow I'm a better person because I do something that was written about in a health magazine or whatever. Um, so definitely this card, we do still kind of have, some struggles to go through. We are still in the post retrograde of Venus and Mercury. Those end in Taurus season. Yay. And as does the Mars retrograde shadow period. So definitely on the later side of Taurus season, we get to breathe. We also have a beautiful full moon in Scorpio, and we have a lovely new moon in Taurus. They're reversed. The new moon's first, the full moon's second. Sorry, y'all. Um, I really think they're going to be lovely and transformative. Like any season that has an exalted moon, we also have a fallen moon on the other side. So, but I find fallen moons are incredibly productive and like really insightful. So, no hate to my Scorpio moons. You all have a lot of deep magic. Also, I met a Scorpio moon once who could smell dead people, not like actual corpses, but like when spirits of the dead would come up. And I am questioning what kind of dead spirits, if they smelled like they were rotting, but they were able to connect with a very kind of tactile past person who smelled like their body would smell. So y'all have some really beautiful gifts in this full moon. I feel like it's gonna be good for you if I have any Scorpio moons here. And maybe you can't smell dead people, but I do find that Scorpio moons have a deep connection with the unseen. In fact, every moon does. It's just how you present it, and how it comes out. So this is our kind of guiding card for this zodiacal season. I really think it's good if you don't know what to do, if you have free time, ground, connect. Um, you will be a great guide to other people who don't know what to do just by your actions, just by being like, you know what? I'm not going to do all the things this month. I'm going to do things that I like. If I don't like something, I'm going to say no, thank you, and do something that I enjoy. The season is really about connecting and reinvigorating and moving through the energy that we have experienced in the earlier part of the year and taking time to process it. I do love our first card because it is the Nine of Pentacles, and I love this deck, excuse me, especially when reading for earth signs because I find the pentacles are really absolutely stunning in this deck. Actually, all of them are, but I do especially love the pentacles. Um, there is a harvest. Now, the harvest might not be what we expected from the retrogrades. It might have been a lot more labor than we thought it was going to be, but there is a beautiful harvest and a beautiful bounty this Taurus season. Um, take time to enjoy the stuff you've been working on. Take time to find beauty in the small mundane things, the cuddles with your cat, the walk with your dog, watching the sunset, kind of that smell that comes around in the more early morning and right in like the evening time that you can kind of smell with the way the earth shifts and changes with the cycle of the sun. It's those little things that we really need to connect to this season. And yeah, maybe on a physical level, we're also getting some good stuff that we didn't expect. I do feel like that's going to come in, all that work we've put in, all of the labor. There are some things that are going to come from that, and we're going to see some a nice product to our effort. And we need to use them and enjoy them and not push them aside and move on to something new. This tour season is about enjoying what we have received and what we have produced. So do that. And then we have Father of Cups, which I think has a lot to do with us, recouping and regrouping. It's also about, after all the lessons we've learned with these retrogrades, really being like, wow, I know more of what I want now. And so I'm going to pursue more of what I want. And I love this because it's an inverted swamp. If you want to look at that, I'm not good with left and right. So that's why I was like, nope. Especially in like the mirror of the camera, um, which I love. It is this really beautiful imagery of kind of the fullness that comes from a swamp. And while the swamp can be stinky and smelly and a little scary and itchy, there's so much life and beauty in it and such magical growth and mystery in the swamp. And in this Taurus season, I think it is that time to kind of enjoy these things. It's also time to maybe tread into a swamp. We have to process what happened during the, Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and eclipse season. But there's a fullness to our energy and our experience. There is wisdom to the time that we have spent this year already. And you get to draw on that for not just this year, but for the rest of your life. So really pour into yourself and also recognize that while we're not limitless resources when it comes to like physical energy, but humans are limitless in their energy to exist and to hope and to live and breathe and strive in spite of difficulties. And I don't think everything should be in praise of surviving difficulties. I think it's really foolish to praise pain and difficulty all the time. People deserve peace and happiness, but there is beauty in your strength so far, and you deserve to enjoy the beauty of that strength. Other people shouldn't be the only ones benefiting from the vastness of your emotional intelligence and the emotional labor that you've put in to become the person that you are. So really enjoy that this Taurus season and really dig into the expansiveness of your feelings and the power that comes from no longer judging your emotional state and recognizing that that's just who you are. And yeah, there's some things that we might want to tweak and there's some responses we may not be proud of, but that doesn't make it not correct. It just means that maybe we could have done it a slightly different way. And then we do have Five of Swords. There's still conflict. There are still little niggly things happening. There are people with different opinions and ideas. When you start to step into things, when you start to ground, when you start to set boundaries, even if you've already done them before, but you're doing like phase 10 of your boundary setting, or someone has broken a really basic boundary that wasn't even that big of a deal, but they kept stepping on it. And you're like, now I have to put up a bigger boundary. That's still going to happen. just get comfortable with saying no, especially as we head towards, Saturn into Aries, which happens on the 25th of May. So not Taurus season, but the developing story happens in Taurus season. To really get comfortable with saying no and saying yes to the things that truly make you happy. Um, this is all about feeling joy and um, really loving and uh, getting the most out of life. Um, in spite of the annoying people that try to get in our way and want to tell us to be less. And I love that. I don't know who came up with it, but like, if you want less, go find it. Like, if you don't want everything that I am, then why are you here? Go find something that is less than me. That is my message to you. And then we have the Eight of Wands, and this really screams that Scorpio full moon to me. It feels like a lot of the beginning of Taurus season is this reprocessing, this kind of recognizing the good things that we have even in the conflict. Um, and then we hit that Scorpio full moon, and things are going to start to shift and move pretty quickly. So enjoy the time that you have to kind of sit with your produce, as that first card was, and really get to know who you are, because you're going to have to move pretty quickly, especially as we head to Gemini season, as we move towards Uranus shifting into Gemini eventually, as we head towards, um, just the fall eclipse season. And you're like, Abigail, we are in the spring. What are you talking about? This is how astrology minds think. Every time I bring something up, I'm like, in 6 months. Um, so just know that if things feel slow, let them be slow, because they're not going to be slow for forever. And then you will wonder why it's not slow anymore. And last but not least, we do have this beautiful judgment card. There is a lovely transformation happening into our season. I don't think it's big or bombastic. I think it is very much like a cicada crawling out of its shell. And one day you're just not in that shell anymore, and it's stuck to the side of the tree looking really cool. So even if the beginning feels more like a gathering and a sitting with and an appreciating and a processing, this massive judgment, this transformation of everything that we have kind of taken in during this whole previous part of 2025 is leading to a moment of self-recognition and rebirth, and you coming out as a more stunning version of the already stunning version of yourself. So hang in there, my Taurus people. We have been through it because Venus ruled. Yay. Uh, but don't lose hope. Know that there are beautiful gifts here. Know that there is, after all of this exhaustion, there's going to be an influx of power. It's kind of like, it's kind of like how a lot of middle school kids get like a little chunky and then they sprout up and they get really thin. I feel like we're in the thin part where we're all really scrawny and gangly, and we're heading into a more fully mature version where we kind of fill out a little more and we, get a bit of ourselves a little more filled out. I felt like we were a little stuck back in 2024 in this kind of like pre-growth phase, and now we went through the growth phase and we're low resource and we're lethargic and we need to eat a lot and we need to provide sustenance for ourselves, and we are heading towards a fully matured version. And we will go through this process multiple times in our life. That's spiritually and emotionally, at least for me, how growth works. So be encouraged. Know that this season is a bit more downtime. Is it going to be easy? Probably not, because we are processing all of that energy and we still have to remain connected to a world that is very disconcerting. Although I will say it has always been disconcerting. Some of us were just privileged enough not to notice. Um, but yeah, have faith, take care of yourself, do all of the spring things, have so much fun. Um, you gotta nurture yourself, Taurus people. You gotta feed yourself and love yourself and dance naked in the mirror and enjoy all of the different parts of yourself and the different shapes and the softness of your edges and things like that. And maybe you're a really angular Taurus. There is softness in there, no matter whether it's external or internal. Embrace that. All right, my loves, I will see you in a different time and place, and blessed Taurus.